Hey guys, Mr. Catlin here. We're doing virtual lesson 4.3, and it is about decimal and percentage equivalents, converting between them. This is not a seventh grade skill, something you should have learned before. So we're going to make this pretty quick. But before we do the next lesson, it's really important that you know how to do this. So just going to go over it. We're converting between decimals and percentages, and decimal and a percentage, they're just different forms of equivalent numbers. And the way that you think about it is you could think about it as a proportional relationship. To get from decimal to percent, you multiply by 100. That's your constant of proportionality. Think of that as your constant. And to go from a percent back to a decimal, you divide by 100, the same constant of proportionality. Now, multiplying and dividing by 100 is actually really easy to do. There's no calculator necessary. All it is two decimal places to the right when you multiply, like you see here, 1, 2 to make 75, or two places to the left, like you can see here, 1, 2 to make this back into 0.8 or 0.8. So all it is a decimal move two places. The one thing that most kids get tripped up on is which direction and how do I know which way to move it. All right. And so I wrote down a little tip down here for you to help you do that. Here's my tip, the way that I remember it. The percent version of the number, which are the numbers over here on the right, they always appear a little bit larger than their decimal equivalents. For example, 0.06 is equivalent to 6%, but 6% looks like a bigger number. 6 looks bigger than 600ths, right? So I know by knowing that the percent always looks a little bigger, that can help me determine which direction I'm going to move my decimal two places. So for example, for this first one, 26%, we want to convert it to its decimal version. The decimal point is right here after the 6, right? Right after the whole number. And since it's already in percentage form and the percentage form looks bigger, the only way that I'm going to be able to make that into its decimal form is to move it to the left, because moving it to the right would make it much, much larger. We want to make it smaller in its decimal equivalent, which would be 0.26 or 2600ths, right? So we can use that little tip for all of these. 0.09 is decimal form. The percentage form should look bigger. So that's a decimal move to the right to make it look bigger. If I moved it to the left, it would get smaller and smaller, right? So we move it over here. This is the same as 9%. And you'll get to a point where you can look at these and know what they are without having to move any decimals. All right. That's our hope, is to eventually get to that point where you can just look at it and know. Percents look bigger, so we want to make it smaller looking. We move it to the left twice, and that's why the decimal is 1.24, 424%. The next one here we have is 36 and 500ths. Now this is in decimal form already. There's no percent sign attached to it. So the percent, even though it seems weird to do, is going to be larger. So we move it 1, 2 places to the right, 0 for our placeholder. This is the same as 3,650%. And then 4.5%. Now this is in percent form, so we want to convert it back to a decimal. It's a smaller version, which would move it 2 places to the left. So 0.045. And then lastly, we will do 3. The number 3 is in decimal form. Think of it as 3.0 if you would. And to make it into its larger percent looking, it appears larger when it's percentage, we move it 2 places to the right, which would give us the number 300 as a percentage. And there's your quick mini lesson on percentages and decimals for today. Have a great day, and good luck on the cool down.